Welcome back to Messy Margins. So, I'm here to talk to you about the books that I've read that I didn't finish. I don't like to start reading a book and then not finish it. I feel like sometimes the best of a book comes later. Some people will read a book one, two chapters in and decide, nope, I'm not fucking doing it. And that's good. You know your limits. Last month, I read a book. And when I tell you, it was like a fucking chore reading that book till I got down to like literally the last couple of chapters, and that's when everything started happening, and I was like, all right, well, now I'm invested and I need to know what happens. I was glad that I pushed through because I did enjoy the ending, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes some books are just unfinishable.
What?
I'm gonna start with the very first book that I did not finish, and I don't have a physical copy of this book because I gave it away. Why? Because I didn't finish it. And I tried to read this book 2 times, and both times I couldn't get past like 4 or 5 chapters. And I was just like, yo, what the fuck? And the crazy thing is that I saw the movie, and the movie wasn't terrible. But the book, I just couldn't do it. I found it so boring. And that book is called Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. I hated it. So Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. All I remember, I can't give you specifics, but I do recall thinking it was super boring, and I was like, I'm not in school, you know what I'm saying? I don't have to write a paper on this shit. Why the fuck am I forcing myself to read it? And so I said no. The next book was The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. All right, so this book, I had to read it for college, for English, and I had to write a paper on it, and I took the F.
I am suddenly overwhelmed with regret.
So when I was in college, I read a couple of novels that I really loved: Lord of the Flies, Of Mice and Men, and The Great Gatsby. These were the 3 that we were given as part of the reading curriculum, and we had to write papers on them. Y cuando te digo a ti that I just could not get into this book. I could not get into this book. And this was the last book that we needed to read. So I had read the other 2, loved the other 2, and then came this one. I can't tell you how far I got into the book before I decided I'm okay with getting an F because I have passed everything else, and so I was confident that I'm not gonna fail the class because I got 1 F. I took it as a loss. I was like, listen, I'm not subjecting myself to reading this book. I can't fucking stand it. I couldn't fucking stand it. But fast forward years and years later, and then the movie comes out with Leonardo DiCaprio, and I saw one scene. I've never watched the whole movie, but I did see one scene where they were playing the song by Lana Del Rey.
Will you still love me when I'm no longer young and beautiful?
I was like, yo, if the movie moved me this way, the book has to be good, because the books are usually so much better than the film. And I decided I'm gonna give the book another chance. And that was like over 10, oh my god, oh shit, that was like 17 years ago. So it was a fucking long ass time ago. And I just ordered the book last year, and the goal is to read it this year at some point. A book I didn't finish reading, but I want to read. So look out for me reading this at some point. So the last 2 books that I tried to read last year and just couldn't fucking do it are The Oxford Murders by Guillermo Martinez. And I started reading this book last year at a time, on a day where I probably shouldn't have started reading anything. I was in Manhattan doing a task that was very sad, and I started reading the book while I was in this office trying to get some paperwork, and I couldn't get into the book. I got like 2 chapters into the book while I was in this place, and the entire time I wasn't really paying attention to what was happening in the book. It just didn't catch my attention. But I don't think anything would have caught my attention. To be fair, what the fuck is this? A sticker? A price sticker? I don't know. Why would they do that? And I'm just noticing this now. Anyway, ahí se queda. I unfairly did not finish this book. I didn't give it a chance because I think I was also associating the book with the time. And so when I got home and I just kept looking at the book, and all I kept thinking about was the damn office that I was in when I was reading the book. It's not the book's fault. It's my fault. I want to give this book a fair shot. So The Oxford Murders and The Great Gatsby are 2 books that I didn't finish, but I intend on finishing. And for the final book that I started reading last year and did not finish, and was kind of disappointed because I wanted to finish, is State of Wonder by Anne Patchett. First of all, a moment of appreciation for this cover. You can't, can you? Ooh, maybe. So there's like gold. These leaves. Her name, it's gold. Not real gold, clearly, but like, you know, shimmery gold. And there's something that you call these pages, like pages like this. I don't know what it's called. Some people hate them. I don't got no problems. I think it just looks so pretty. Can you see it? Can you see it? Oh, I hope you can. As opposed to this. Regular pages. And then you got these, you know, pages with a little more fucking charisma to them. I love them. What are they called? I feel like the name starts with the letter D, but I'm just not 100% sure and I don't want to spread false information. All right, so boom. I got up to page... ¿Qué es esto? I made it to page 61 in this book. And I remember when I read the back of the book, it made me feel like I was just going to be completely immersed in this story in the fucking rainforest with creatures, you know what I'm saying? Not creatures, but you know, creatures that you would find in the fucking forest, in the rainforest. Like, I just was expecting something different to what I got. And from the beginning page to page 61, when I tell you I was bored out of my fucking mind reading this, I said, yo, what the fuck is going on? And I had feelings. I was like, all right, I got a feeling that... So the story is about this woman who's like a scientist and she's working with another scientist, and this one scientist goes missing and people are saying that he died in the fucking rainforest trying to find a cure for some type of disease. I can't remember what the disease was, if it was Alzheimer's or cancer or what, you know, but there was a disease and this motherfucker was out there trying to find the cure and he dies. And then he has got a wife, and his co-worker and his wife are like talking, and the wife is saying, go out there, but whatever. And I'm just saying, let me find out this motherfucker's alive. Because that's how it seemed. And I was right. So I ended up seeing a spoiler for the book. And I was absolutely right. The surprise was spoiled for me. But it wasn't even really a surprise. You're going to go to the rainforest. You're going to try to find out what happened to him. And he's going to be alive. And sure enough, that's what happened. So this book, I'm definitely not going to be reading it because I don't give a shit. Let me read to you what it says. In a narrative replete with poison arrows, devouring snakes, scientific miracles, and spiritual transformations, State of Wonder presents a world of stunning surprise and danger, rich in emotional resonance and moral complexity. You know, I read that little bit and it makes me want to give it another shot. But, you know, not for nothing, I think I just convinced myself to give this book another shot. I don't know what happens at the end. I don't know if that tidbit of information that I found happens in the end. You know, it could very well happen in the middle of the book and more shit ends up coming. Oh my God, am I going to finish this? I might just give this another chance. All right, y'all. So that was the 3 fucking books. Well, 4 that I did not finish. But now I feel like I have successfully convinced myself to finish all 3 of them. Let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of these books. Did you like them? Did you hate them? Like, what were your thoughts? I would also like to know, what are some of the books that you guys have read that you couldn't bring yourself to finish?